The Chef and the Author by Sasha Clinton. Narrated by AI Voices. Chapter 1. Maya. By the time I make it back to my apartment, it's almost midnight, and my body feels like it's been borrowed by someone else and returned without an apology. My feet ache in that deep, bone-tired way that no amount of stretching ever seems to fix. My shoulders are permanently knotted, like my muscles have decided this is just who we are now. There's a faint smell of garlic and smoke clinging to my clothes, baked into the fabric the way kitchen smells always are. No matter how many times I wash this jacket, it still smells like work, which is to say, it smells like my life. I juggle my keys, my phone, and a single grocery bag that's cutting into my fingers because I am once again the idiot who thought, I'll only grab a few things, and then proceeded to grab enough vegetables to feed a small, anxious village. The hallway of my apartment building is quiet in that way only late nights are. The overhead light flickers slightly, as if even it is tired of existing. Someone's wind chime on a nearby balcony tinkles faintly through an open window, which feels deeply rude at this hour. I stop in front of my door, press my forehead briefly against the cool wood, and let out a long breath. This is the part of the day where everything catches up with me. The orders, the heat, the constant shouting over sizzling pans, the pressure of timing everything just right. The knowledge that tomorrow I'll wake up and do it all again. The restaurant is my dream, yes, but it's also my entire personality at this point, and I'm not sure that's healthy. I shift the grocery bag to my other hand and fumble with my keys. That's when the door next to mine opens. I look up automatically, because humans are nosy by nature, and oh no. A slim, beautiful brunette steps out into the hallway like she belongs there. Like she belongs anywhere she goes, really. My neighbor. She's tall, slim in a way that looks effortless rather than intimidating, wrapped in a long coat that hangs perfectly from her shoulders. Her hair is dark and glossy, pulled back loosely at the nape of her neck, with a few strands escaping to frame her face. She's not wearing much makeup, just a soft, natural look that somehow still reads as polished. She smells faintly of something expensive and clean. Linen, maybe? Or jasmine? Or money. She's holding her keys in one hand, phone in the other, and when she looks up, her eyes meet mine. Brown. Warm. Curious. My brain short-circuits. Because I know her. Not in a we've met before way, in a you got me through my 20s without knowing my name. Evelyn Hart, best-selling Sapphic romance author, internet darling, the woman whose books I've bought in paperback, hardcover, and digital because I kept losing them to various bags and bedside tables. The woman whose stories I read during my 15-minute breaks, perched on a milk crate behind the restaurant, hands still smelling of onions and oil. The woman who wrote love stories when I didn't have time for one. I feel something drop straight through my chest and land somewhere near my toes. She's real. Like, standing in front of me real. And for one terrifying second, I am very aware that I might make a noise. A bad one, something between a gasp and a strangled yelp, something deeply unhinged and extremely fangirlish. Do not do that, I tell myself. Do not be weird. Be normal. You are 30 years old. You run a business. You have opinions about knife brands. You cannot squeak. She smiles first, which feels unfair. It's not a big smile. It's polite, small, the kind you give strangers you're sharing an elevator with. But it's warm, and it makes something flutter in my chest. Hi, she says. Her voice is soft, calm, lower than I expected. I swallow. Hi, I manage. It comes out a little hoarse, but I'm choosing to believe that's because I've been shouting over kitchen noise for 10 hours straight, and not because my favorite author just spoke to me. I gesture vaguely with my keys, which is a normal thing people do, apparently. I just moved in next door. This is a lie. I've lived here for 3 weeks, but it's close enough to the truth that my conscience lets it slide. Her eyebrows lift slightly. Oh, welcome. Her gaze flicks down to the grocery bag cutting into my fingers, then back up to my face. That's late grocery shopping. I laugh softly, because what else am I going to do? Cry? Propose? Confess that I once reread her 3rd novel at 2 in the morning and believed in love again for approximately 6 hours? I say, I work late, instead. Occupational hazard. What do you do? She asks. I adjust my grip on the bag and feel my shoulders slump just a little as the question opens the familiar door. I'm a chef. Her face changes immediately. It's subtle, but I catch it. The way her eyes brighten with interest. The way her mouth curves into something more genuine. Oh, she says. That explains it. Explains what? I ask. She smiles. You look like you've been fighting a war. I snort because, yes, exactly. That would be the dinner rush. I lost 3 good hours and at least 1 layer of skin. She laughs, and the sound is quiet but delighted, like she didn't expect that response and enjoyed it anyway. Right then, her stomach betrays her. It growls, loud enough that there's no pretending it didn't happen. We both freeze. Her eyes widen, and for the first time, she looks flustered. I'm so sorry, that's mortifying, she says quickly. I grin before I can stop myself. No, it's perfect, very relatable, 10 out of 10 realism. She groans softly, covering her face for half a second. I was just about to go out and find something to eat. At midnight? I ask. She shrugs. My schedule is unconventional. Something in her tone makes me brave. I can cook, I say, lifting the grocery bag slightly. I mean, I cook anyway, that's kind of my whole thing. She looks at the bag, then at me. Then her stomach growls again, like it's casting a vote. She exhales, laughing. You know what? That sounds amazing. And just like that, my quiet, exhausted night tilts sideways. Chapter 2. Kitchens and First Impressions. My apartment is small, but it's clean, functional, and very obviously owned by someone who works with food for a living. There are cookbooks stacked everywhere, on the counter, on the windowsill, on the little shelf above the sink that was absolutely not meant to hold the collective wisdom of several cuisines. My knives are laid out neatly on a magnetic strip, which I am deeply proud of. Evelyn steps inside, pausing just long enough to take it all in. It smells good in here, she says. That's because my clothes absorbed most of the restaurant, I reply. You're welcome. She smiles, slipping out of her coat and draping it carefully over the back of a chair. I'm suddenly very aware of how she moves, graceful but not stiff, comfortable in her body in a way that reads as confidence rather than performance. She perches on one of the stools by the counter while I start unpacking groceries. So, she says, watching me line things up automatically, what kind of chef are you? The tired kind, I say, but technically modern fusion, heavy on seasonal stuff. Comfort food, but elevated. She hums thoughtfully. That sounds like something you'd write in a dating profile. I snort. I don't have time for dating profiles. Ah, that kind of chef. Exactly. I grab a cutting board and a knife, my hands falling into familiar rhythm as I start chopping onions. The knife flashes, quick and precise. I don't even have to look. Evelyn watches with open fascination. You make that look incredibly easy, she says. That's because I've cut myself enough times to respect the knife, I reply. She laughs again, softer this time. I'm terrible in kitchens, she admits. I live on takeout and frozen meals. I glance at her. You must be rich to eat out every day. She hesitates, then smiles, just a little self-conscious. I guess. I'm an author, by the way. I write books. Some of them sell really well. Oh, I say lightly. That's nice. A novelist? That's so unique. It suits you. You look like a classy intellectual. Inside, I am absolutely losing my mind. Evelyn snorts out a laugh. Classy intellectual? Please. Most of my books are just steamy romance novels with women kissing. Women kissing other women, I hope. I raise my eyebrow. A faint blush marks her cheeks. She clears her throat. Of course, that's the best kind, right? Besides, I'm open about my sexuality with my audience. Good for you. I refocus on the vegetables, but taking my eyes away from Evelyn's adorably pink face and red ears requires a lot of willpower. That comes out more casual than I feel. I refocus on the vegetables in front of me because if I look at Evelyn's face for even one more second, I'm going to do something unprofessional, like grin too hard or blurt out the title of my favorite book of hers and the exact chapter that made me cry in the walk-in freezer at 3 a.m. The knife hits the cutting board in a steady rhythm. Chop, chop, chop. Her ears are still red. I notice because of course I do. You don't sound very impressed, she says lightly. I am impressed, I say. I just try not to react strongly to things anymore. It sets expectations. She laughs again, and this time there's something more relaxed in it, like she's settling in. So, what's your name, chef who saves strangers from midnight hunger? She asks. Maya. And you? She hesitates for half a second, which is interesting. Evelyn, she says. Just Evelyn. I nod like this is the most absurdly generous understatement I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, Evelyn, I say, do you have any allergies, strong dislikes, or secret vendettas against certain vegetables? She considers. I have a complicated relationship with eggplant. I pause mid-chop. That sounds emotional. It is, she says solemnly. Too mushy when done wrong, too smug when done right. Fair, I say. I respect that. I grab a pan and set it on the stove, flicking the heat on without thinking. The familiar hiss grounds me. Kitchens are where my body knows what to do, even when my brain is short-circuiting. Evelyn watches me work, chin resting in her hand. You're very calm, she says. I am deeply not calm. I am simply well-trained. She laughs at that, eyes tracking my movements. I'm suddenly hyper-aware of the way I move in kitchens. Confident, efficient, different from how I feel most of the time. At the restaurant, there's no room for hesitation, no space for self-doubt. You either move or you get burned. At home, with her watching, everything feels more exposed. So, how long have you been a chef? She asks. I let out a breath. Forever, or at least since I was old enough to lie about my availability. She laughs. That sounds ominous. I started washing dishes at 17, moved up, learned fast, burned out faster, took on more responsibility because someone always needed help, and then suddenly I was 29 and opening my own place. Her eyes widen slightly. You own a restaurant? I shrug, trying to play it down. A small one, nothing fancy, but it's mine. That's incredible, she says, and this time there's no teasing in her voice, just genuine admiration. I feel something warm twist in my chest. Thank you, I say quietly. She watches me toss the vegetables into the pan, eyebrows lifting as the sound fills the kitchen. You do that like it's second nature, she says. It is. I spent most of my 20s in kitchens. I didn't really have time for anything else. Her gaze softens. No dating? I snort. Dating? I barely slept. She smiles, but there's something thoughtful behind it now. That sounds lonely. I pause. The vegetables sizzle, filling the silence. It was, I admit. But I told myself it was temporary, that once I built something solid, the rest would come later. And did it? She asks gently. I tilt my head. The building part, yes. The rest is pending. She hums like that makes sense to her on a personal level. I add garlic into the pan, the smell blooming instantly. Evelyn closes her eyes for a second and inhales. Oh, wow, that smells like a hug. I grin. High praise. She opens her eyes and looks at me, really looks at me, like she's cataloging something important. So, what did you do on your rare nights off before you moved in here? I hesitate. This is dangerous territory. But she asked so openly, without judgment. I read, I say finally. Her lips curve, amused. That tracks. I read a lot, I add, mostly romance. Her eyes flicker. Any particular kind? I keep my focus on the pan. The kind where women fall in love despite terrible odds and questionable life choices. She laughs, delighted. Oh, those are my favorite, too. I nearly drop the spoon. Careful, I tell myself. Careful. She doesn't know, and I'm not ready to tell her. The food comes together easily, comforting, familiar. I plate it without fuss because after a 12-hour shift, elegance is optional. We sit at the small table by the window, knees almost brushing. Evelyn takes her first bite and freezes. Oh, she says. That single syllable sends an unreasonable jolt through me. Good O or concerning O? I ask. She takes another bite, slower this time. This is really good. Like, unfairly good. I grin. I'll take that. She eats like someone who doesn't usually get fed like this, slowly at first, savoring, then faster, like she's realizing she's safe to enjoy it. Something in my chest tightens. This beats fast food by a mile, she says between bites. I forgot what a real meal feels like. You can't live on takeout forever, I say gently. I know, Evelyn admits. But when you work alone all day, it's easy to forget to take care of yourself. I glance at her. You work from home? She nods. Most days I barely leave my apartment. I sit, write, stare at the wall, delete everything, panic, write again. That sounds intense. She smiles wryly. Creativity is a nightmare with better branding. I laugh. Tell me about it. She pauses. What's creative about cooking, for you, I mean? I consider that. It's controlled chaos. You get to make something tangible. People eat it. It nourishes them. That feels grounding. Her gaze lingers on me, thoughtful. I write love stories, she says, but most days it's just me and a blinking cursor. I tilt my head. Do you like being famous? She snorts. I don't feel famous. I feel invisible, unless I'm online. That hits something deep. Funny, I say. I feel the opposite. Surrounded by people all day, but no time to actually connect. We sit with that. The unspoken similarities settling between us. She finishes her plate and leans back, sighing contentedly. That was amazing, she says. I wish I could eat like this every day. The words slip out before I can overthink them. You can. She blinks. I'm sorry. I cook every day anyway, I say, suddenly very aware of my heart rate. You're welcome to join, if you want. She hesitates, then smiles slowly. That sounds dangerously tempting. I'm a professional, I say. I specialize in temptation. She laughs, warm and easy, and something shifts. Later, when she stands to leave, she lingers by the door. Thank you, Maya, for the food and the company. Any time, I reply. She pauses. Really? I nod. Really? She smiles, softer than before. When the door closes behind her, I lean back against the counter and press my face to my hands. I am absolutely doomed. Chapter 3. Black Dresses and Literary Awards. I am 2 steps away from my apartment door when I see her 2 days later. She's standing in the hallway under the flickering light, keys in one hand, phone in the other, wearing a black dress that looks like it belongs at a gallery opening or a book launch or the kind of place where people drink wine and talk about themes. It's simple, elegant, cut perfectly. She looks like she's stepped out of a life that includes panel discussions and hardcover dust jackets. I look like I stepped out of a kitchen fire. My jacket smells like onions and sweat. My hair is in a bun that gave up emotionally around hour 9. There's a smear of something that might be sauce or might be my dignity. She looks up when she hears my footsteps and smiles. "Hi," Evelyn says. I stop walking like I've been manually powered down. "Oh," I say. "Hi." Very eloquent. Pulitzer-worthy. Her hair is down tonight, dark and glossy, curling slightly at the ends. She's wearing lipstick, a deep, muted red that makes my brain short-circuit in entirely new ways. "You look nice," I say, because I have no self-control. Her smile widens. "Thank you. You look very hardworking?" I laugh. That's one way to put it. She gestures vaguely at herself. "I just got back." "From somewhere fancy?" I ask, nodding at the dress. She glances down at it and makes a small face. "Oh, writing awards thing." My heart stutters. "Oh," I say carefully. "Did you win?" She shrugs, casual but not dismissive. "No, but the food was free and the wine was terrible, so it evens out." I snort. Free food is still food. "Exactly," she says. "I consider it a victory." There's a pause, a comfortable one, but I can feel the wanting under it. I want to ask her to come over. I want to cook for her. I want to keep her in my orbit just a little longer. But she already ate, and I'm trying very hard to not be weird. "Well," I say, unlocking my door, "I usually cook a big meal on Saturdays, when I'm not dead, if you ever wanted to join." Her eyes soften. "I'd like that, even if I already ate." I grin. "Good. I'd be offended if you didn't." She laughs quietly. We stand there for another second, neither of us quite ready to go inside. "Oh," she adds, "we should probably exchange numbers, so we don't have to shout through walls like Victorian neighbors." My brain briefly leaves my body. "Yes," I say immediately. "Normal thing to do. Very neighborly." She types her number into my phone. My hands are steady. My soul is screaming. When she hands my phone back, her fingers brush mine. It's nothing. It's everything. "Good night, Maya." "Good night, Evelyn." I go inside and immediately press my forehead against the door. I got her number. I got my favorite author's number. I am going to pass away. Chapter 4. Grocery Stores and Mothers Who Know Too Much. I am pacing the produce aisle like it personally wronged me. My mother watches from beside the cart, arms folded, expression amused in that deeply dangerous way mothers have when they sense gossip. "You've picked up that tomato 3 times, she says. "Either marry it or put it back." "I'm thinking," I mutter. "You're spiraling," she corrects. I sigh. "I invited someone over." Her eyebrows shoot up. "You invited someone over?" "Yes." "On purpose?" "Yes." She grins. "Who is she?" I hesitate. Then I give up. "She's my neighbor," I say, "and she's an author." My mother blinks. "Like books?" "Yes." "Real books?" "Yes." "Romance?" I nod. She lights up. "I knew it!" "She's very classy," I add weakly, "and smart, and intimidating." My mother waves a hand. "So are you." I scoff. "I cook in an apron with burn marks." "And you own a restaurant," she says. "That's hot." I choke on air. "Mom!" "What?" she says innocently. "It is." I glance down at the cart.
She's coming over Saturday. I don't know what to make. She immediately straightens. The lentil curry. That's a family recipe. Exactly. What if she doesn't like it? Then she's not the one, my mother says decisively. I groan. She's out of my league. My mother stops walking and looks at me. Maya, she says firmly, you built something from nothing. You feed people. You work hard. You care. That is a league. I swallow. She squeezes my arm. Cook for her. Be yourself. Stop acting like you're lucky she's speaking to you. I nod slowly. Also, if you don't text her tonight, I will. I laughed despite myself. Chapter 5. Saturday, slowly. I start cooking 3 hours early. This is not because the dish requires it. This is because I am nervous and incapable of sitting still. By the time Evelyn knocks, my kitchen already smells like toasted spices and onions sweating slowly in oil. The windows are fogged slightly from the heat. I've changed my clothes twice and still feel underdressed, overdressed, and fundamentally unprepared. When I open the door, she's standing there in dark jeans and a soft sweater the color of old books, hair loose around her shoulders. She's holding a small box tied with string. I brought dessert, she says, as a peace offering. I take the box and peek inside. Chocolate torte. Dense, glossy, decadent. I close my eyes for half a second. You can't just show up with weapons like this. She laughs, stepping inside. I ask the person at the bakery what people buy when they're trying to impress someone. My stomach flips. Well, I say, they succeeded. She slips her shoes off again, automatically, and looks around my apartment like she's seeing it properly for the first time. The counters are cleared more than usual. The good cutting board is out. My knives are lined up with care. You're very serious about this, she says softly. I swallow. I am. She meets my eyes, something warm and unreadable passing between us. What are you making? She asks. I hesitate, then decide to tell the truth. It's a family recipe. Lentil curry, my mom's. Her expression shifts immediately. Curious. Gentle. Oh, she says, that sounds important. It is, I admit. She taught me how to make it when I was a kid. Evelyn leans against the counter while I start chopping ginger and garlic, watching with quiet focus. How old were you? She asked. 8? Maybe 9? My mom worked 2 jobs. She couldn't always be home, so she figured if I knew how to cook, I'd be okay. That's a lot of trust, Evelyn says. She didn't have a choice, I reply, smiling faintly. I burned a lot of things at first. She laughs softly. I can't imagine you burning anything. Oh, I was a menace. I once set off the smoke alarm making rice. Her eyes brighten. I would pay to see that. I was deeply offended. Rice is supposed to be easy. I add cumin and coriander to the pot. The scent blooms, warm and grounding. My mom used to say, I continue stirring, that if I could feed myself, I'd never be helpless. So she taught me, slowly, carefully. Evelyn watches the steam rise like it's hypnotic. She sounds strong, she says. She is, I reply, terrifyingly so. She smiles, then hesitates. Did you always want to cook? I think about it, about standing on a stool at the stove, about the way food felt like control in a world that wasn't. I knew I liked it. I knew it made me feel useful, needed. Her gaze softens. I get that, she says quietly. I glance at her. Did you always want to write? She lets out a breath. Yes. I spent all my time reading books and knew I'd never be happy if I couldn't grow up and spend all my time living in the world of stories. Everybody told me it was a fantasy, but I knew it was my path in life. I started improving my craft and querying agents and publishers early. I was lucky to get a lucrative deal with my first book right out of college. Since then, things have always worked out for me. I'm so grateful that I get to live in my head and tell the stories that consume me. Something in her tone makes me slow down. I grew up with books, libraries, used bookstores. College felt like stepping into a dream, like I finally belonged somewhere. "Where did you go?" I asked. She names a university that immediately conjures images of stone buildings and ivy. I grin. "You look like you stepped out of a dark academia novel." She laughs, genuinely delighted. "I'll take that as a compliment." "It is," I assure her. "You have the vibe." She watches me add tomatoes, lentils, stock. "So," she says, "what's your favorite romance novel?" My heart stops. This is my nightmare. I cannot tell her it's hers. I cannot look her in the eye and say her name without revealing everything. I clear my throat. "There's this book," I say carefully, naming another Sapphic romance by a different author. "It's about two women who meet later in life. It's quiet, domestic, not dramatic." Her lips curve. "Those are my favorites." "Mine too," I say. She studies me for a moment, then nods, satisfied. "I think romance works best when it's small," she says, "when love grows in kitchens and conversations." My chest tightens painfully. "Exactly," I say, a little hoarse. We eat at the small table, knees brushing. The curry is thick and rich, layered with spice and warmth. The rice is fluffy. I watch her take the first bite, holding my breath like this is an exam. Her eyes close. "Oh," she murmurs. I relax slightly. "Good O?" "Very good O," she says. "This tastes like someone cared while making it." I smile, my chest aching in a good way. Halfway through the meal, she sets her spoon down and looks at me seriously. "Thank you," she says, "for sharing this with me." I shrug, suddenly shy. "You're welcome." We finish eating slowly, talking, laughing, lingering. When she finally stands to leave, she pauses at the door. "This was really special," she says. I nod. It was. She smiles, softer than I've ever seen. And when the door closes behind her, I stand in my kitchen, heart full, knowing something has shifted. Slowly, but irrevocably.
Chapter 6. The Quiet After. The thing about cooking for someone is that the mess comes later. The dishes sit in the sink, cooling, streaked with sauce and oil. The smell of spices lingers in the air, warm and intimate, clinging to the walls like a memory that refuses to leave. I stand in my kitchen long after Evelyn is gone, hands resting on the counter, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the faint sounds of the city outside. My apartment feels different now. Not empty, not lonely, just charged. I rinse a plate I already rinsed 5 minutes ago and try to get my thoughts into some kind of order, which is impossible because my brain is stuck replaying the way she closed her eyes when she tasted the curry, the way she said, "This tastes like someone cared," like it was a revelation. I wipe my hands on a towel and glance at my phone. Nothing. Which is normal, she just left. Still, I find myself checking again 2 minutes later, like maybe she texted while walking down the hallway and my phone somehow missed it. "You're fine," I tell myself out loud. "You are 30 years old. You made dinner. A person ate it. This is not a life-altering event." My heart does not agree. I finally force myself to clean up properly, stacking dishes, wiping counters, moving through the motions with the muscle memory of someone who has cleaned kitchens at 2 in the morning more times than she can count. But this is different. This kitchen holds more than exhaustion now. It holds laughter, conversation, a softness I don't usually allow myself. When I'm done, I sit on the couch and let myself feel it. The
the wanting. The dangerous, slow realization that this wasn't just a neighborly dinner, this was a door opening. I wake up the next morning to a text. Evelyn, I'm still thinking about that curry. I may never emotionally recover. I stare at the screen for a full 10 seconds, then grin like an idiot. Me. That's the risk you take with family recipes. 3 dots appear almost immediately. Evelyn, I knew it. You fed me sentimentality on purpose. Me. It's my secret ingredient. I set the phone down, heart racing, then immediately pick it back up again. Evelyn, thank you again for last night. It meant more than I can say. I swallow. Any time, really. I hesitate, then add. Me, you're welcome over whenever, you know that. The typing bubble lingers longer this time. Evelyn, careful. I might take you up on that more than is reasonable. I laugh quietly, pressing my pillow into a pillow like a teenager. The days that follow settled into something dangerously comfortable. We don't see each other every night. Sometimes our schedules don't line up. Sometimes she's buried in deadlines, and sometimes I'm buried under a dinner rush that leaves me too exhausted to think. But when we do see each other, it's effortless. One night, she comes over with a laptop under their arm and an apologetic look. I promise I'm not using you for food, but I haven't eaten since noon and my brain has stopped cooperating. I take one look at her tired eyes and usher her inside. Sit, I say. I'll handle it. She watches me cook from the couch this time, curled up with her legs tucked under her, glasses perched on her nose as she scrolls through a document. Can I read you something? She asks hesitantly. Please, I say. I love being read to. She smiles at that, then clears her throat. It's rough, she warns, and not polished. I've seen kitchens mid-service, I reply. I can handle rough. She reads softly, voice steady, but careful, like she's placing something fragile in my hands. The story is about 2 women who meet in an ordinary place, a laundromat, a grocery store, somewhere mundane. It's intimate, observant, tender. When she finishes, she looks up, searching my face. Well? She asks. I don't answer immediately. That was beautiful, I say finally. You make ordinary things feel important. Her shoulders relax. That's all I want to do. I bring her a bowl of pasta, steam curling up between us. Eat, I say again, because apparently this is my brand now. She laughs. You're very bossy. Only when I care, I reply, then freeze. She doesn't comment on it, but the look she gives me is warm and knowing. Another night, we end up sitting on the floor with takeout boxes because I got home too late to cook. I feel like I'm cheating on you, I say, handing her chopsticks. She grins. Relax, I eat takeout professionally. She tells me more about her childhood then, about moving a lot, about learning early how to disappear into books. I was quiet, she says. Teachers loved me. Other kids didn't notice me much. I would have noticed you, I say before I can stop myself. She goes still. You don't know that, she says gently. I do. I notice things. She studies me, something tender and vulnerable flickering in her eyes. I'm glad you do, she says softly. The intimacy builds in small ways, in shared glances across the kitchen, in the way she starts bringing ingredients she thinks I'll like, in the way I automatically make extra food when I know she's had a hard day. We never talk about what this is, but we both feel it. One night, as she's leaving, she hesitates in the doorway. Maya? She says. Yeah? I haven't felt this grounded in a long time. Something in my chest aches. I'm glad, I say. Me too. She smiles, then leaves, and I stand there again, knowing this is no longer harmless, knowing I'm falling. Slowly, deeply, and with no idea how to stop. Chapter 7. A very dangerous routine.
The problem with cooking for someone once is that it sets a precedent. The problem with cooking for Evelyn is that it sets a precedent I immediately want to keep. The next night, I am halfway through prepping dinner when there's a soft knock at my door. I glance at the clock. 11:15. Of course. I open it to find Evelyn standing there with her hair loose this time, dark waves falling over her shoulders, wearing an oversized sweater that looks obscenely comfortable and faintly expensive in the way only very soft fabrics can be. She's holding a small paper bag in one hand and wearing that same polite, hopeful smile. "I brought wine," she says, "as a bribe." I laugh. "You don't need to bribe me." Her eyebrows lift. "Oh, good, because I would hate to find out I underpaid." She steps inside like she belongs there, slipping her shoes off without being asked. That tiny detail does something to my chest. "Rough writing day?" I ask because it feels safe to assume. She exhales. "You have no idea." I hand her a glass and turn back to the stove, trying to act normal, like my heart isn't doing laps. From that night on, it becomes a thing. Not an official thing, nothing dramatic, just a quiet, mutual understanding that around 11-ish we'll probably eat together. Sometimes she knocks. Sometimes I text her when I'm almost home. Sometimes she's already waiting outside her door, keys in hand, pretending this is all very casual and not the highlight of her day. For me, it absolutely is the highlight of my day. She perches on the counter while I cook, swinging her legs, asking questions about ingredients and techniques with genuine curiosity. She reacts dramatically to garlic sizzling in oil. She says things like, "Oh my God," when I add butter, as if I've revealed a state secret. "You cook like you're performing," she says one night, watching me toss pasta effortlessly. "That's because I am. This is dinner theater." She grins. 5 stars. Would attend again. We talk while I cook. About books she loved growing up, about how she started writing because she couldn't find enough stories where women loved women and lived, about my mother, who taught me how to cook because she worked 2 jobs and needed me to fend for myself, about how kitchens are loud and relentless and alive, about how writing is quiet and lonely and terrifying. We are 2 women who chose difficult careers that require obsession and sacrifice, sitting across from each other at a tiny table, realizing how similar our lives actually are. One night, she gestures around my apartment, wine glass balanced carefully in her hand. "You really don't stop, do you?" she says. "Stop what?" I ask. "Working," she says. "Your life revolves around feeding people." I shrug. "Someone has to." She studies me for a moment, eyes thoughtful. "Who feeds you?" The question lands heavier than I expect. I laugh it off. "I eat standing up over trash cans. Very glamorous." She doesn't laugh. Instead, she reaches over and nudges my knee with hers. "You deserve better than that." Something about the way she says it makes my throat tighten. I change the subject immediately because I am a coward. The longer this goes on, the harder it becomes to ignore the truth. I know who she is. I know the books she's writing before they're announced. I know her pen name. I know exactly the cadence of her dialogue, the way she writes yearning like it's a physical ache. And every night I listen to her talk about plot problems and deadlines and readers and pressure like she's just Evelyn, the woman who burns toast, the woman who eats around eggplant like it personally offended her. I tell myself I'm doing her a kindness by not revealing that I'm a fan. I tell myself I'm protecting her. I tell myself a lot of things. The real reason is simpler. I don't want to be a disappointment. I don't want her to see me as a fan instead of a person. I don't want to watch something warm and real turn awkward and fragile. So I stay quiet, and I fall a little harder every night. One evening, she shows up with dark circles under her eyes and a frustrated set to her mouth. "Bad day?"
I ask. She collapses on a chair dramatically. I'm stuck. Writer's block, I guess? She groans. Worse. I know where the story needs to go emotionally, but I can't figure out how to get them there. I hand her a plate without thinking. Eat. She blinks. You didn't even ask what I wanted to make. I know, I say confidently. You need carbs. She laughs weakly. You're frighteningly good at this. Food solves many problems, including fictional lesbians. She perks up. Tell me about it. She talks while she eats, pacing herself this time, describing characters and arcs and tension. I listen, genuinely fascinated, occasionally asking a question that makes her stop and stare at me like I just unlocked something. Oh, she says slowly. Wait, that actually works. I grin. You're welcome. She points her fork at me. You're feeding my brain. I'm a multitasker. She leans back, sighing. I don't know how I wrote before this. Before us, she doesn't say, but I hear it anyway. Weeks pass like this. Shared meals, late nights, soft laughter. Sometimes we sit close enough that our arms brush. Sometimes she curls her feet under my couch. Sometimes I catch her watching me with an expression I can't quite name. One night, as she's leaving, she pauses at the door. You know, she says, hesitating, I really like this. This? I ask. She gestures vaguely between us. Us, this routine. My heart skips. Me too. She smiles, warm and genuine, and for a second, it feels like a promise. After she leaves, I lean against the door and press my forehead to the wood, breathing slowly. I have built my entire adult life around discipline and restraint, around showing up and pushing through, around not wanting too much. And suddenly, I want everything.
Chapter 8. The Woman Behind the Pages. I don't mean to read her book like it's contraband, but I kind of do. It's a Tuesday night. I'm sprawled on my couch with my feet tucked under me, the restaurant finally quiet in my bones, the apartment lit only by the soft yellow glow of the lamp in the corner. Evelyn went home an hour ago, after eating 2 bowls of soup and complaining that her wrists hurt from typing all day. I'm aging tragically, she'd announced, rubbing one hand dramatically. You're 34. You'll survive. She'd smiled at me over the rim of her mug. Easy for you to say. You're powered by fire and spite. Now her book sits in my hands, heavy and familiar. The cover is already creased, the spine broken in. I've read it before. Twice, actually. Once, when it first came out, curled up on my old apartment floor with takeout containers and exhaustion weighing me down. Again, months later, slower, savoring it. But this time is different. This time, I know her. I know that when she writes about silence stretching between 2 women, she means the kind that hums instead of empties. I know that when she describes a character burning toast, it's because she burns toast. I know the way she chews on her lower lip when she's unsure about a sentence, the way she talks through plot problems out loud like the characters are sitting across from her. I turn the page, and there it is. A paragraph I recognize. My breath catches. She read this to me weeks ago, sitting at my kitchen table with a fork in her hand, gesturing absently as she spoke. I remember nodding, offering a suggestion about pacing, joking that the tension worked because the characters were starving. I didn't realize it was this. I didn't realize I was holding something I had already touched in a different way. The words feel warmer now, more intimate, less like fiction and more like a window. I swallow, my chest tight with a strange mix of pride and fear and awe. I'm close to her, dangerously close. The thought sits heavy as I close the book and set it on the coffee table, telling myself I'll put it away later. I do not put it away later. The next evening, Evelyn comes over unannounced, which is to say she texts me, "I have bread," and shows up 10 minutes later. "Emergency carbohydrate delivery," she says, holding up the loaf triumphantly. I laugh and step aside. "You're a hero." She kicks her shoes off and wanders in like she owns the place now, dropping on the couch with a sigh. She says, "I needed a break. My characters are refusing to cooperate." "That's because they're fictional lesbians. They thrive on chaos." She smiles faintly, distracted, then reaches for the book on the coffee table. My stomach drops. She picks it up, brows knitting slightly. "Oh," she says. Time slows to a crawl. "I didn't know you had this," she adds, turning it over in her hands. My mouth opens, closes, opens again. I meant to put it away." She glances up at me, curious but not upset. "Have you read it?" This is the moment where lying feels heavier than truth. "I love your work," I say quietly. The words hang between us. She doesn't smile. Instead, she exhales and leans back against the couch, still holding the book. "It's always strange when people say that." I frown. "Strange how?" She hesitates, eyes flicking to the window, then back to me. "Because when people read my books, they think they know me. They think I'm some exciting lesbian with a dramatic, extraordinary sex life and a constant parade of passion." She lets out a humorless laugh. "And really, I'm just a hermit who forgets to eat and talks to her plants." I sit down across from her, careful, attentive. "I don't see you like that." She studies me, searching. "My work makes people look at me differently. It sets expectations I can't meet. It makes everything feel performative, even when I'm just being me." "That sounds lonely," I say. Her jaw tightens. "It is." Silence stretches. Then she adds quietly, "There was a time last year where I didn't leave my apartment for days. I'd finish writing and realize there was no one to talk to, no one to tell." Something in her voice cracks. Without thinking, I cross the space between us and wrap my arms around her. She stiffens for a half second, then she melts into me. Her forehead presses against my shoulder, her arms come around my waist. She's warm, solid, real. I breathe her in, the faint scent of soap and paper and something distinctly Evelyn. "I'm here," I murmur. She exhales shakily. "I know." The closeness does something dangerous to me. My heart pounds. My skin hums where she touches me. This isn't fictional. This isn't admiration. This is real. And I can't keep lying to her. She pulls back slightly, still close, eyes soft and vulnerable. "Maya," she says, "can I ask you something?" My chest tightens. "Anything." "When we first met, did you know who I was?" The world narrows to that question. I could still lie. I don't. "Yes," I say. "I knew you immediately." Her eyes widen, not in anger, but surprise. "I recognized you the moment I met you. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to be a fan. I wanted to be me." She absorbs that, quiet. "You've read my books," she says. "I have," I admit. "Before I ever met you." A beat. "And you stayed," she says softly. "You treated me like a person anyway." I nod. "Because you are one." Her expression shifts. Something eases. She smiles, small and genuine. "Thank you for telling me." Relief floods me so fast I almost sag with it. She leans her head back against my shoulder, still holding me. "I don't feel like a character with you. I feel real." I tighten my arms around her, heart aching in the best way. So do I. And in that quiet, shared warmth, I know we're already crossing a line. Slowly, honestly, together.
Chapter 9. The Silence Between. Evelyn doesn't text. At first, I tell myself this is normal. She's busy.
She's a writer. She disappears into her work sometimes. I know this. I've watched her do it. I've watched her forget to eat because a sentence wouldn't cooperate. So the first night, when 11:15 comes and goes and my phone stays dark, I tell myself not to spiral. The second night, I am significantly less convincing. By the time the third evening rolls around and I'm standing in my kitchen with a pot of soup simmering that I absolutely do not need because I am not feeding anyone but my anxiety, I am officially losing my grip. I check my phone again. Nothing. No good night text, no casual meme, no, sorry, deadline ate me. Just silence. The kind that presses against your ribs and makes you question every word you've said in the last 48 hours. I sit at my kitchen table, elbows braced, staring at the screen like I can will it to light up through sheer force of yearning. "This is fine," I muttered to the empty room. "This is completely fine. Adults do not implode because someone they like needs space." My heart does not believe me. I pick up my phone again, thumb hovering over Evelyn's name. Don't text her, I tell myself. You already confessed. You already risked something. Give her time. But what if time is her deciding she regrets letting me close? What if I crossed a line? What if she feels exposed now, or embarrassed, or like she can't just be Evelyn around me anymore? The thought makes my chest tighten. I drop my phone onto the table and rub my face with both hands. I should call my mother, I say out loud, which is how I know things are dire. My mother answers on the second ring. "Maya," she says, "is everything okay?" "No," I say immediately, but not in a medical emergency way, in a romantic catastrophe way. There's a pause. Then, very calmly, "Sit down." "I am sitting," I say. "Emotionally, I am lying on the floor." She hums sympathetically. "Tell me." I pace instead, because sitting is impossible. "I told her," I say. "I told her I knew who she was from the beginning." "And?" my mother asks gently. "And now she hasn't texted me or come over in 2 days, which is not normal for us, for whatever this is." "Okay," my mother says. "Breathe." I am breathing, I lie. "Maya," she says, using the tone that has always meant listen. "What exactly did you say to her?" I replay it. The honesty, the way my voice shook, the relief afterward. I told her I recognized her immediately, that I didn't want to be a fan, that I wanted to be myself. "And did she yell at you?" my mother asks. "No." "Did she storm out?" "No." "Did she say she never wanted to see you again?" "No." "Then," my mother says, "she probably just needs time." I stop pacing. "Time for what?" I ask. "To decide she made a mistake?" "Or," my mother says calmly, "time to process being vulnerable." I frown. "What do you mean?" "Maya," she says, "you share food for a living. Imagine cooking something deeply personal, something tied to your childhood, and then realizing the person eating it knows everything about you already." I swallow. "She shares her work. That's not just writing, that's her heart. Maybe she's wondering if you'll see her differently now." I close my eyes. "I won't," I say immediately. "I don't." "I know," my mother says. "But does she?" The silence on my end stretches. "She's lonely," I say quietly. "She told me." "And brave," my mother adds. "Braver than you think. But bravery doesn't mean fear disappears." I sink into a chair. "So what if I ruined it?" I whisper. "You didn't," my mother says firmly. "You told the truth. If something real is going to happen between you, it has to be built on that." "What if she thinks I was pretending, like every moment was fake?" "Then you tell her it wasn't. You tell her exactly what you just told me." I press my lips together.
eyes burning. "She's out of my league," I mutter. My mother snorts. "If I had $1 for every time you said that." "She's accomplished, respected, brilliant." "And so are you, in a different language." I smile weakly. "You always say that. And I'm always right. Call her or text her, but don't punish yourself for being honest." I nod slowly. "Thank you," I say. "Anytime. And Maya?" "Yes. If she needs time, give it to her, but don't disappear." The line clicked dead. I sit there for a long moment, phone in my hand, then unlock it. My fingers hover, then move. Me. "Hey, I just wanted to check in and see if you're okay." I stare at it, then keep typing. Me. "I hope I didn't make things awkward the other night. I've been thinking about it a lot." I pause, heart hammering, then continue. Me. "When I said I knew who you were, I meant that I recognized you, but I didn't know you then. I do now, and that hasn't changed how I see you. If anything, it made me care more." I reread it 3 times, then add one more message. Softer. Me. "If my place feels like too much right now, too intimate, you don't have to come over, but you're always welcome at the restaurant. Meal on the house. No expectations." I paste the address. My thumb hovers over send, then I press it. The message whooshes away, and I set the phone down, heart racing, knowing I've done all I can. Whatever comes next is out of my hands. I stand up and turn back to the stove, stirring soup I still don't need. But tonight, I let it simmer, just in case.
Chapter 10. A Seat at the Table. The dinner rush always starts the same way. The air in the restaurant thickens before the first ticket even prints. The lights feel brighter. The sounds sharpen. Cutlery clinks more urgently. Voices overlap. The low hum of conversation rises like a tide, punctuated by laughter, by scrape of chairs, by the steady rhythm of the kitchen coming alive behind the swinging doors. This is my world. The smell of searing oil and garlic hits first. Then the sweetness of caramelizing onions, the bite of citrus from a garnish being zested too aggressively. The familiar heat settles into my skin like armor. I move through it without thinking, calling orders, checking plates, adjusting sauces with the quick precision that comes from years of doing this under pressure. My jacket is already streaked with something dark. My hair is pulled back tight. My body hums with focus. And still, every few minutes, my eyes flick toward the front of the restaurant. I tell myself it's habit. I tell myself it's nothing. Then the door opens. The bell above it gives a soft, unassuming chime that would mean nothing on any other night. But tonight, it cuts straight through me. I look up. And there she is. Evelyn stands just inside the doorway, momentarily still, like she's taking it all in. The warm light from the pendant lamps catches in her hair. She's wearing a dark coat over a simple dress, nothing flashy, but she looks quietly stunning in a way that makes my breath hitch before I can stop it. For a split second, the restaurant tilts. She looks nervous. Not out of place exactly, but tentative, like this is a step she had to talk herself into taking. My heart stutters. She came. I wipe my hands on my apron without realizing I've stopped moving and take a step toward her. "Evelyn?" I say, louder than I mean to, my voice cutting through the din. She looks up, immediately finding me, and her face softens. "There you are," she says, like she's been looking for me the whole time. The host starts toward her, menu in hand, but I wave them off. "I've got her," I say. The host raises an eyebrow but steps back without comment. Everyone knows better than to question me mid-service.
Evelyn shrugs out of her coat and glances around, eyes moving over the space. "It's beautiful," she says, quietly. That makes something warm bloom in my chest. The restaurant isn't big, but it's intentional. Exposed brick walls softened with warm wood, small tables close enough to feel intimate without being crowded, open shelving behind the bar lined with bottles that catch the light, the kitchen visible through glass, all motion and heat and controlled chaos. "It feels alive," she adds, "like it's breathing." I smiled despite myself. "It kind of is." I guide her to a small table near the window, one of my favorites. The hum of conversation is softer here. Candlelight flickers between us. She sits, smoothing her hands over the table once, grounding herself. "Thank you for inviting me. I wasn't sure if showing up would be too much." I shake my head immediately. "No, it means a lot that you did." She meets my gaze, something earnest passes between us. "Can I make you something? Anything you want." She considers, then smiles faintly. "Make me what's most popular on the menu, whatever people love the most." My stomach flips. "Okay," I say, more breathless than I'd like. "I can do that." Before I turn away, I hesitate. "And Evelyn?" I add. "Yes?" "Thank you for trusting me again." Her brow furrows slightly, and then she laughs softly. "Maya," she says, "I never stopped trusting you." I blink. "You didn't?" She shakes her head. "I just overthink, constantly. It's a curse." She exhales, fingers tracing the rim of her water glass. "My books are full of desire, obsession, sex, romance, women wanting things very intensely. People assume I'm thinking about those things all the time, too, like I'm some kind of deviant fantasy creature." I snort before I can stop myself. She laughs, relieved. "I worried you'd see me differently, like I was strange or excessive." I grin. "I don't think it would be humanly possible for anyone to think about sex all day." She raises an eyebrow. "Even you?" "Especially me. I think about vegetables." She laughs properly now, shoulders loosening. "I'm glad," she says, softly. I nod, then force myself to step away before I stand there staring at her all night. "I'll take care of you, I promise." She watches me disappear into the kitchen. The moment the door swings shut behind me, the noise hits full force. Steam, heat, orders flying, and two pairs of very curious eyes. "Was that who I think it was?" one of my sous chefs asks, grinning. I don't even bother denying it. "My future girlfriend just came in, so we need to absolutely nail this." There's a beat. Then cheering. One of them claps me on the shoulder. "Say no more." "We will make her fall in love through her stomach," the other declares solemnly. I laugh, tension bleeding out of me. "Let's go. Best of the night." I throw myself into the work. Every movement feels sharper, more intentional. I taste sauces twice, adjust seasoning with care. I plate like I'm presenting something sacred. I choose dishes that speak for me, the ones that took years to perfect, the ones that carry comfort and confidence and quiet boldness, a balance of textures, of warmth and brightness. When the plates go out, my hands shake just a little. I don't watch her eat. I can't. I stay in the kitchen, letting the rhythm carry me until the worst of the rush passes. Finally, when the noise ebbs, I wipe my hands and step back out. She's finishing the last bite when I approach. I stop at her table, heart pounding. "So," I ask, "how was it?" Her face lights up immediately. "Oh, Maya," she says. She gestures animatedly. "The first dish was so comforting, like something you'd eat when you need to feel safe. And then the second one was brighter, sharper, like it was waking you up on purpose. And the way the flavors layered together," she shakes her head, smiling, "I could taste how much care went into it." Something in my chest loosens that I didn't realize was tight. No one has ever described my food like that. "Thank you," I say quietly. She reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. "I'm so glad I came. I missed you." The words land softly, but firmly. "I missed you too," I admit. She leans back, content. "I like being alone," she says thoughtfully, "but it's not as cozy as this, as eating with someone, talking." She looks at me, hopeful. "Can I come over again?" I smile, warmth flooding me. "Of course you can." She grins. "Good. I'll bring my special signed editions to pay for all the trouble I put you through." I laugh. "I'll accept them as rent." The candle flickers between us, and for the first time in days, the silence feels easy again. Like coming home.
Chapter 11. Margins and Signatures. Evelyn shows up with a tote bag. Not a small one, not a casual one, a proper canvas, I came prepared kind of tote bag. The kind that suggests intention and mild theatricality. She knocks twice, then waits, hands folded around the straps like she's trying very hard not to look pleased with herself. When I open the door, she smiles. "I brought payment," she says. I step aside automatically, heart thudding. "You didn't have to." "I absolutely did," she says, slipping out of her shoes. "I'm a woman of my word." She sets the tote down on my couch and looks at me expectantly. "Well," I say, gesturing, "present your offering." She laughs and reaches inside. The first book she pulls out is hardcover, navy blue dusk jacket, the title embossed in gold foil that catches the light when she tilts it. The spine is thick, well-loved, the edges slightly worn in that way books get when they've been opened and reopened, not just displayed. I recognize it instantly. My chest tightens. Then she pulls out another and another, a paperback with dog-eared corners, a special edition with deckled edges and a subtle floral design worked into the cover. A signed bookmark slips out and lands on the couch cushion. She lines them up carefully like she's laying something sacred. I wasn't sure which ones you had, so I brought a variety. I stare at the stack, suddenly very aware of my hands, of the way they hover, like touching them might break something. "These are," I swallow, "these are my favorites." Her eyes flick up, surprised. "Really?" I nod, reaching out finally. The cover is cool under my fingertips, the texture familiar. I run my thumb along the spine, over the slight crease where it bends open most easily. "I've read this one 3 times, I admit quietly. Evelyn's smile is small, but glowing. "Okay," she says. "Now I'm nervous." I laugh softly. "You've already won." She opens the first book and signs it on the title page, her handwriting looping and elegant, the ink still slightly glossy when she closes it again. "To Maya," she writes, then pauses, glancing up. "May I?" I nod. She adds, "For feeding me in all the ways that matter." My throat tightens. I pick it up carefully once she hands it to me. Seeing my name there, written by her, feels unreal, like stepping into a parallel universe where my quiet internal life suddenly has physical proof. "This is a dangerous level of power," I murmur. She grins. "I wield it responsibly." We sit on the couch, knees angled towards each other, the books spread between us like a shared secret. "So," she says, "tell me, which one do you love the most?" I hesitate. Then I decide to stop lying. "The one you asked me about earlier, when you asked what my favorite romance novel was?" Her brow furrows. "Yes?" I lied, I confessed. "My favorite book is Midnight Between Us." Her breath catches. "That's," she trails off. "That's mine." "I know," I say, quickly. "I just didn't want to make things weird."
She laughs, soft and delighted. Too late. I open the book, flipping to a page that falls open easily. This part, I say, tapping the margin, where they're sitting in the kitchen at 2 in the morning and neither of them wants to be the first to leave, and one of them says something completely mundane, like asking if the other wants tea, and it's loaded with meaning. Her eyes shine. That scene almost didn't make it in, I admit. I thought it was too quiet. It's perfect, I say, because nothing happens and everything does. I flip to another chapter. And this, when they argue, not about love, but about timing, about whether wanting something means you're ready for it. She nods slowly. That was the hardest chapter to write. I sew it, in the best way. She studies me for a moment, then laughs, shaking her head. You know, having a fan like you around might be really good for my ego. I grin. I aim to serve. I doubt myself constantly, she admits. I finish a draft and think, oh, am I kidding? This is indulgent. This is silly. I close the book gently. It's honest. That's different. She exhales, shoulders loosening. Thank you. You have no idea how much that helps. I stand. Dinner will help more. Her eyebrows lift. You already made something? Always, I say. The kitchen smells incredible. I plated everything before she arrived, letting it rest, letting myself breathe. I bring the dishes out one by one. Roasted vegetables with caramelized edges, a fragrant grain dish with herbs and lemon, a slow-simmered stew, rich and deep, the kind of meal that wraps around you. She inhales as I set the dishes down. Oh, she says reverently, you spoil me. I nourish my muse, I reply. She laughs and takes a bite. This is incredible. Again. We eat slowly, talking, laughing, letting silences settle comfortably between us. It feels different tonight. Safer. Deeper. Like something has shifted into place. I watch her as she eats, the way she closes her eyes briefly, the way she savors. I know, suddenly and with terrifying clarity, that I am in love with her. The realization is quiet, certain. I don't say it. Not yet. Instead, as we finish, I clear the plates and glance at the calendar on the wall. Valentine's Day is close. Closer than I expected. Hey, I say casually, turning back to her, how about you come over for dinner again soon? She smiles. Of course. How about Friday? I'll make something special. She nods. I'd like that. I smile, heart racing, knowing exactly what I mean, and knowing I'll tell her then.
Chapter 12. A Love Letter in Food and Balloons. By the time 6 o'clock rolls around, my apartment looks like a Valentine's Day crime scene. There are heart-shaped balloons floating near the ceiling, pink and red and unapologetic. I may have overestimated how many balloons were appropriate for a romantic dinner between two adults, but once I started inflating them, it felt wrong to stop halfway. There's a small banner taped above the window that says "Love," slightly crooked because the tape gave up emotionally halfway through. The table is set with my good plates. Candles flicker, throwing soft shadows across the walls. The air smells like rosemary, butter, citrus, and chocolate. The kitchen counters are lined with dishes I've been cooking all afternoon, every one of them chosen carefully, deliberately, like a sentence in a confession letter I can't rewrite. I smooth my hands down my clothes for the 5th time in 10 minutes. I am wearing my best outfit. Not restaurant best, but me best. A soft blouse I only wear on days when I want to feel pretty. Dark pants that actually fit instead of forgiving me for my life choices. My hair is down, brushed properly. My fingers are bare. No chipped polish, no burns visible unless you know where to look. I stare at myself in the mirror and immediately panic. What if I look ridiculous? What if I look like I'm trying too hard?
What if she notices that I don't own black satin dresses or dramatic heels or anything remotely suitable for literary award ceremonies? What if she realizes I'm not intellectual enough, that my vocabulary revolves around flavors and textures and timing, not metaphors and themes? What if she laughs? What if she gently lets me down? My stomach twists painfully. This is too much, I mutter to myself, glancing at the balloons. This is way too much. But then I think about her, about how she writes women who take risks, who choose courage even when it terrifies them, who step forward instead of waiting to be chosen. And I think, if I don't do this, I'll regret it forever. The doorbell rings. I freeze. Every anxious thought evaporates, replaced by one singular, overwhelming awareness. She's here. I walk to the door on legs that feel borrowed from someone else and open it. Evelyn stands in the hallway, holding a bottle of wine and smiling softly. She's wearing a pink top, simple and comfortable, paired with dark jeans. Her hair is loose, curling naturally around her face. She isn't dressed up in any dramatic way. She looks like herself. And she looks beautiful. "Hi," she says. For a second, I forget how to speak. Then she glances me up and down, eyebrows lifting appreciatively. "Wow, you look really pretty." Something hopeful sparks in my chest. "Thank you," I manage. "You look you." She laughs. "I'll take that." She steps inside, pauses, and looks around. Her eyes widen. "Oh," she says slowly, "you weren't kidding about making something special." I laugh nervously. I might have gone a little overboard. "A little," she says, grinning, "but in a very charming way." I take her coat and hang it up, suddenly hyper-aware of every movement. I pour her wine first, hands steady through sheer force of will. "I'm glad you came," I say quietly. "Me too," she replies, meeting my eyes. We sit at the table, candlelight softening everything. The room feels smaller, warmer, charged. "So," she says lightly, lifting her glass, "are you celebrating Valentine's Day with anyone special?" My heart thuds. "I don't have a girlfriend yet," I say, choosing my words carefully. "But I'm hoping that changes." She studies me over the rim of her glass, expression unreadable but attentive. "I see," she says. I decide not to elaborate yet. Instead, I stand. "Eat," I say, defaulting to my safest instinct. "Please, I put way too much effort into this for you to leave hungry." She smiles. "Bossy, I like it." I bring out the dishes one by one. Roasted chicken with crisped skin and lemon, a warm salad with caramelized vegetables and toasted nuts, fresh bread brushed with olive oil and herbs. Everything smells rich and comforting and intentional. We talk while she eats, normal things, safe things. She tells me about a reader email that made her cry. I tell her about a customer who insisted on substituting every ingredient on the menu and then complained it didn't taste right. "That should be illegal," she said. "It felt personal," I replied. She laughs, relaxed now, shoulders loose. Halfway through the meal, she sets her fork down and looks at me seriously. "You know," she says, "your food makes people feel taken care of." I swallow. "I hope so." "It does," she says firmly. "It really does." The moment lingers. I know I can't put this off any longer. I stand and bring out dessert. It's chocolate, rich, glossy, indulgent, shaped carefully, deliberately, with small heart details piped along the edge. I place it in front of her and immediately feel ridiculous. She looks from the dessert to the balloons to me. "I'm sensing a theme," she says gently. I laugh breathless. "Yeah, I figured if I was going to do this, I should commit." Her gaze sharpens slightly. "Do what?" I sit across from her, hands folded in my lap. "Your books," I say, voice steady despite my pounding heart, taught me that love doesn't just happen. Someone has to take the first step. Someone has to be brave. She listens without interrupting. They gave me hope, I continue. They made me believe that ordinary people could find extraordinary love. I meet her eyes, and I like you, romantically. I want to date you. The words hang in the air. She doesn't look shocked. If anything, she looks amused. Oh, she says thoughtfully. I kind of thought we were already dating. I blink. We are? She tilts her head. We eat together. We talk about things that matter. We share our work. That's dating, Maya. Friends do that too. I've liked you since the day we met, she admits. My breath catches. I was always afraid no one would fit into my life. It's unconventional, quiet, messy in strange ways. But you fit. Your routines, your world, they make sense to me. She stands, steps closer. I love you, she says simply. I always dreamed of finding a safe space with someone. I didn't expect it to look like this, but I'm so glad it does. Tears sting my eyes. I love you too, I say, laughing breathlessly. Also, I need a second to process that my favorite author just said that to me. She laughs and kisses me. It's gentle, warm, grounding. When we pull back, I fan myself dramatically. This feels like the ultimate fangirl dream come true. She grins. Get used to it. She kisses me again. And this time, I know. I chose courage, and it chose me back.
Epilogue. The way home feels now. I unlock my door at 11:48 at night, shoulders aching, hair still smelling faintly of smoke and citrus and heat. Some things never change. What has changed is the glow. Warm light spills out from my living room, soft and golden, and for a split second, my tired brain doesn't register what I'm seeing. Then the scent hits me. Vanilla, sugar, something sweet and celebratory. I step inside and freeze. There's a cake on the table. Not a rushed grocery store cake or a half-melted cupcake. A real one. Chocolate, glossy frosting, candles already lit and flickering patiently like they knew I would be late. There are takeout containers neatly stacked beside it, the good kind, from the place I love but never order from because I cook for a living, and pride is a stupid thing. And standing there, arms folded loosely like she's been trying not to give it away for hours, is Evelyn. Happy birthday, she says softly. My breath catches. She crosses the room in 3 long steps and wraps her arms around me, tucking her face into my neck like it belongs there. I melt into her instantly, exhaustion draining out of me in a rush. You worked late, she murmurs. Again. I'm sorry, I say, voice thick. The friar rebelled. She laughs against my shoulder. I forgive the friar tonight. She pulls back just enough to kiss me. Slow, familiar, home. I ordered food, she adds. You are absolutely not allowed to cook. I laugh, then realize my eyes are burning. I never thought, I say, swallowing, that I'd come home to this. To you. Her expression softens. I did. She guides me to the table, blows out the candles for me because I'm too busy blinking back tears, then hands me a small wrapped package. For you, she says, before cake. I unwrap it carefully. It's a book, hardcover, matte dust jacket, the title embossed in silver, not on shelves yet, not announced. I look up at her, stunned. An early copy, she says, a little shy. No notes yet. I wanted you to read it just as a reader first. My throat tightens completely this time. You're the best girlfriend in the world, I say, pressing the book to my chest. She smiles. Objectively true. We eat sitting side by side on the couch, knees touching, passing containers back and forth, sharing bites like it's second nature. She tells me about a scene she struggled with that morning. I tell her about a customer who asked if gluten was a feeling. We laugh. We lean into each other. The cake waits patiently on the table, candles melted down to nothing. Later, when we finally cut into it, she feeds me the first bite with her fingers, frosting smudging my lip. "You missed a spot," she says, kissing it away. I hum contentedly. A year ago, I was afraid of wanting too much. Now, I come home to this. We still live in separate apartments. She likes her quiet when she's writing. I'm still locked into a lease I refuse to break out of spite and budgeting principles. It works for us. The space makes the togetherness intentional. Every night we choose each other. Every night it feels like coming home. I lean my head on her shoulder, book resting in my lap, cake crumbs on my fingers, heart full in a way I never imagined it could be. "Best birthday ever," I say. She kisses my temple. "Good. I plan to outdo myself next year." And I believe her. Thank you for listening to this story. Hope you enjoyed it. You can check out other books by Sasha Clinton, available on Amazon under the pen name Sasha Clinton. Also, check out my channel for more free lesbian romance audiobooks.